Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another Monster Hunter World video. Yes, that's right, 2 in 1 day. Not only did we get a really awesome trailer this morning, and if you guys haven't seen that, please do me a favor and go and watch it. I've got a complete breakdown, which I've linked down below, but you also just need to see the trailer itself without me talking over the top, because it is so incredibly awesome. Probably one of the coolest Monster Hunter trailers I've seen in a long time, so definitely check that out. However, on top of that, there was a second video that went out. This is what I'm basically going to call their sort of tutorial series, Hunting 101. Essentially like an introduction to players that are newer to the series, and it shows the sort of end-to-end flow from selecting a quest, going out on the hunt, defeating the monster, and then using the parts you find, coming back to the base camp to then go and craft your weapons. So the cool thing about this video is that we get our very first glimpse of the Monster Hunter World hub town. Not the whole thing, we only get a look at a kind of condensed area, but we also get a look at the weapon crafting process and weapon trees, which is really cool. So once again, I'm going to break down the video, talk about the exciting stuff. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, but let's get started. So first things first, the trailer begins in the hub in this very cool looking area. Now this bit in itself looks really nice. I can't wait to see the rest of it, because for those of you guys that might be new to Monster Hunter, hub towns are generally speaking a decent size. You know, you'll go there there'll be places to eat, you'll have your own kind of house, you'll also have places to go and craft gear, to buy items, to do other things. Typically there's some kind of farm where you can go and, you know, multiply items, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff going on in hub towns, and given that Monster Hunter World is a bigger, more open game, I'm kind of hoping that hub town will also reflect that as well. However, from this condensed area, we do get a look at what I'm going to assume is the chef area, the kind of food area where you can go and eat before you go on your meals, and also, of course, where you go to get your quests. So, starting on the right-hand side, we have the kitchen. So this is typically where you go before you start a quest, you eat some food, you get your buffs. We can, of course, see like an oven over there. We can see food hanging up there. We can also see the sort of head chef cat. Obviously, zooming in, it's a little bit hard to see him really clearly, but he appears to have like a bandana around his head, something on his back. I don't know whether that's a sword or something. Looks like a pretty big cat. And for those of you guys that are new, again, to Monster Hunter, the kitchen is a really cool part of the game. It's an important part because you do want to eat before you go on meals. It can max out your health, max out your stamina, give you other buffs, but at the same time, the kind of just animations you get when you eat food, typically really cool. And of course, when you go online, you can then sit with other hunters and eat together. So it's just sort of this established thing that you come to expect from Monster Hunter. However, jumping over to the left-hand side, we of course have the guild mom. We've seen her out on a quest with us, but of course, when we're back in the hub town, then she clearly sits here. This is where you go to get your quest. So when you speak to her, you can open up the book, and you then get a look at the available quest from there. Now, the interesting thing here, before we actually jump into the book itself, there are 3 options here. You have post a new quest, you have join a quest, and you have online game session. Now, based on the information we got from E3, we know that you can go on a quest solo, but if you decide that you want help while you're there, you can shoot up your flare and people can join you. So I'd imagine that the join a quest kind of thing will be for people to, you know, join maybe from your friends list, and then the online game session, people can just broadly search, you know, available quests that the people can join. So that's probably the kind of discrepancy there. So you jump in there, you select your quest. This is, of course, the typical structure. So you have the quest list up at the top, you have your target down there, your reward, your time limit on the right-hand side. We have a look at the map, and it shows you typically where you will find that monster in that area. You also have some additional information, requirements, failure conditions, the main monsters that you can sort of expect to see while you're there, and of course a note from the ecologist. So that is your book. You accept that one, and then instead of walking out the front door, they call in their sort of bird wyvern creatures. I really want to get the name for these, because I don't know what they're actually officially called just yet, but they fly up together. And also, if you actually rewind for a second, you'll see that there's actually a second hunter here. So it seems like they've kind of grouped up together and flown off kind of on the quest at the same time. Also, speaking of playing together, if we rewind to this section here, just before you interact with the handler, you'll see right in the back, there is a player called Fiverr Bro, and he's actually got this speech mark next to his kind of icon. He's sitting at a table, which is again one of those kind of places you can sit before you go on a quest. So I'm going to assume this is like an indicator for in-game chat. But either way, they're partnered up, they're in a team, so they go on the quest together, and then you head off. Now, once they head into the actual quest itself, the first bit we've seen before, you fly in and you land down at the base camp. Of course, the handler is over there. They go to the item box, which is typically where you can go to get some items. So you can, of course, grab your potions, you can grab your steaks, and you'll notice how it's actually split now. There are items at the top and there's ammo and coatings down below. So they've actually got their own kind of respective sections. So if you're a gunner, you can go and take the stuff from the ammo. If you're not, then it's not worth your time. Following on from there, the video then kind of depicts the typical flow we've seen time and time again. So they talk about how you interact with things like footprints to gather intel for your scout flyers. They, of course, start to level up, and then they can lead you to the monster. We, of course, have Great Jagras in this situation, so they then fight it, and then once they defeat Great Jagras, you'll actually see a few interesting things here. Firstly, when you complete the quest, at the top of the screen you have the option to either return to the camp or to HQ. Now, I said this previously, that at E3 they said there'll be the option to, while you're on a quest, pick up additional quests that you can complete, whilst you're doing your main mission. So in this situation, it actually says on the screen, if you go back to the camp, then it'll take you into expedition mode, and when you're in there, you basically have no timer. You can be there as long as you want, and you can then pick up more quests at the same time. So you'll notice that at the beginning, the handler had a green marker above her head, so I imagine you can go back to her, pick up some quests. Hopefully this will be their way to better introduce the kind of more monotonous tasks, things like go and kill 10 Jagras, go and gather 10 mushrooms, go and deliver an egg, something like that. Hopefully we can kind of pick them up at the same time and then kill two birds with one stone. So you can either go back to the camp and carry on about your business, carry on kind of hunting, gathering, do what you want, or you can just go back to HQ and return to the hub. You'll also notice on the side that we got some points. Now, I don't know what they are just yet. I'm going to assume they could well be similar to, say, Y Academy points of old. So when you do certain things, you get points and you can then use them back at hub to exchange for items. If that's the case, then you'll see there are different criteria. So they used a shock trap during the hunt and they got 10 points. They also then slayed Great Jagras and got 30 points. And in the process, they've also discovered this new investigation report. So that's probably some other kind of quest, not entirely sure at this stage, but it shows up at the end. So it seems like different ways that you fight will of course influence what you earn at the end of the quest. Following on from there, they of course carve the monster. We then get to the post-game reward screen where you can of course grab your rewards. Interesting thing here is if you look down at the very bottom, there is the option to hide the menu, which I'm super excited about. This is something you were able to kind of do in previous Monster Hunter games, and they stopped for a while and they reintroduced it in of course Double Cross. But being able to hide the menu in this situation, you often get these really cool kill screens, so if you can do that, then it makes for some great screenshots. So if you kind of get like an epic finisher, you hide the menu, take that, share that on social media, that is something I am for sure going to be doing. But again, this is pretty standard, reward screen. So once you've done that, they then show the next part of it, which is again back in the hub, showing another area we haven't seen before. This is, of course, the forge area. So you run in. The area itself looks really cool. You've got all these big like industrial pipes around there. It almost reminds me of the forge area to a certain extent in Monster Hunter Tri. It's definitely got that kind of feeling to it because you sort of walked into this area, but there's these big sort of metal pipes around this huge furnace at the back, and you'll also notice there's a sort of conveyor belt around the front. So they then go and speak to the smithy, and you'll notice that in this situation they're in the upgrade equipment menu. So they then go and scroll through the items. They select their sword because they want to upgrade it. It actually lists down there your different kind of upgrade options. You have the Jagras blade, but there's the Buster sword, or there's the kind of question mark option below that. But if you then jump over to this page, this is super exciting. This is an in-game weapon tree. Now, one of the kind of things we've always done in the past is this sort of information has typically been on, the websites. You go to the Monster Hunter Wiki, you then find that a sword goes down a particular path. If you want to unlock or kind of branch into, say, I don't know, the poison path, you then need to upgrade it in a certain way. And because none of that was ever in game, it always required you kind of go into a website. So then putting this in here instantly shows that you're then able to look at a glance what you need to do. So you can see, for example, if we want to go down to, say, the Great Jagras tree, we need to have created the ore tree weapon, upgraded it a second time, and then at the third upgrade, we could have either gone to the third ore tree upgrade or dropped down to the Great Jagras tree or this question mark tree. So immediately, we have a better visual indicator as to what we need to do and when we can create different weapons, which is really cool. Looking at the bottom of the screen, we of course have the usual things, confirm, back, preview. There's also this cool option that says add or remove from a wish list. Now, again, at this stage, no idea exactly what that does, but if you could then add like a weapon to a wish list, maybe you can kind of build like a set reminder or be like, hey, I'm trying to work towards this sword. Then maybe you can sort of, keep checking on it when you come back. Maybe like a reminder, maybe you can kind of go to the smithy and just look at your wish list and be like, oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to work towards. Either way, that's pretty cool. Of course, at the top, you have the option for your tree, your list. So I imagine the list is probably more kind of conventional where you can just list through all the different named weapons. Whereas if you want to see the tree, you can go to this tab and there's a zoom tab. So hopefully that's an option to kind of preview the weapon, because that's obviously a really cool thing as well. When you get a new weapon or you defeat a new monster, you want to see what the weapons look like. So the preview page is probably going to be super important. Of course, all the required materials are displayed down here, and then once they craft it, you then see the weapon coming across on the conveyor belt right at the front, and you then pick it up from there to get your new weapon. They, of course, then show some of the armor sets. These are all the armor sets that we have seen before. These were shown during the weapon videos, so nothing particularly new here, but seeing them all standing there together does just show, some of the variety in the armor, and this is hopefully just a small sample of it. There should be a hell of a lot more to craft and collect out there. So that is pretty sweet. But aside from that, that's pretty much it. They jump over to the kind of hub again, so we get a look at a couple more areas. This is sort of like a slightly more open area. It almost looks like the sort of skeletal structure of like a Zeppelin in the background with these horns. There's a big wheel over there with a couple of characters standing there, probably vendors. And then the next scene shows us another final section within the hub. So we've already seen sort of 4 condensed locations, so hopefully there's a fair bit more to discover, but it does look really awesome so far. And then after that, they just jump back into some gameplay, showing the different weapons. In this situation, they are of course wielding the Great Jagras variant greatsword. So up until now, we've typically seen what I assume is like the iron variant, the very basic one. So this time it's a similar form factor. In fact, it's basically an identical model, but instead it's got some Jagras skin around it. So that is of course a new weapon. And then aside from that, it just rounds out with a few more clips. So that is pretty much it for this video. A little bit shorter than the other one, but still very cool. Really nice to finally see the hub, even if we only see it briefly. And of course, also really nice to see the crafting process, because for those of you guys that are new to Monster Hunter, this is why we play the game, right? We play it not only to hunt big monsters, but also to craft badass armor and weapons in the process. So seeing now how that'll work, or at least a very early snippet of how that'll work in Monster Hunter World, is really cool. So for the time being, that's it. If you guys enjoyed the video, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions. If you missed the other video, then check out my breakdown of the new trailer, also linked down below. For the time being, thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.